So then I say, is this thing on?
Because it was off.
Yeah, never saw it.
Okay.
Never saw it coming. Never saw it coming.
Wow.
Are you ready to go deep?
I'm ready to go tracks.
Are you ready to go deep tracks?
I'm ready to go deep tracks only.
Or exclusively?
Exclusively.
Yeah, there's a scene in The Office where Andy Bernard, they're all at the skating rink or something like that. And then they're at some skating party, and I think it hasn't gone well. And then some people leave, but then Andy Bernard is out on the floor and goes up to the DJ. And he goes up to the DJ. He's like, yo, put on Dave Matthews Band. And then he looks back at him and he goes, deep tracks only. And then the guy turns on Ants Marching, which is not a deep track. And then Andy Bernard just starts bobbing his head. Oh yeah. And then he starts skating off. And it is like one of the best, like meta humor, like very strange niche jokes. That's my favorite. That's where the podcast title came from. So are you okay with that?
I'm great with that. That's great.
What's going on in Oklahoma City today? Is it pretty warm?
It's a little chilly.
It is.
This room?
100 degrees outside. It is really cold in this room.
Is 105 the high today? Or was that yesterday?
105, 105, it's something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something stupid.
Didn't Arizona just have 10 straight days of 110?
Arizona's had hundreds of years of 110.
Well, it was a record.
Oh, was it Arizona really set a record?
They set a record,
Oh, 10 straight days of 110.
Straight days, yeah.
I read it's not getting below 90 degrees at night.
Wow.
So, so imagine just going out in that hot air. I think one of the hottest nights I've ever experienced is I was in McAllen, Texas.
I could tell you the hottest night I've ever experienced.
Do you want to go first? Because I bet your story's better than mine.
No, I'm kidding.
I was in McAllen, Texas, and I remember like walking outside one night and just being like punched in the face with heat, and I really liked it. It was actually a really nice feeling. We talk about it at the podcast today because today we've got Esty Flores, who leads the band Slow Joy.
He is the band Slow Joy.
He is the band Slow Joy. He is the brand. He is the band. So we talk a little bit about Texas and some of the Texas backcountry, which is near and dear to my heart. But one of the greatest feelings for me is like total heat entrapment, like where you're surrounded by inextinguishable heat.
It's just an armpit.
No,
you just like being in an armpit.
I don't really like being in somebody's armpit.
Yeah,
but I do like being like enveloped in heat. It is a very comforting feeling to me. Like still windless summers in hot, dry environments, like 106 degrees. Like we have a little spot down here in Oklahoma called the Wichita Mountains, Wichita Wildlife Refuge. And one of my favorite things to do is to go down to the Wichita Wildlife Refuge when it is like 100 degrees and just walk around for 6 miles and just sweat it out. And then there's they call it a mountain town. There's a little mountain town called Medicine Park. And what you can do is you can pay $3 to swim in the canal that runs through the middle of town. And so I usually go pay $3, dip in the water, and have a great Friday by myself. Man. So I do that sometimes. What do you do to recharge?
Man, I like to climb mountains. To recharge, I play piano. That's my recharging. That's lame. Wow. Compared to going to the heat.
Yeah, that story wasn't as good as mine.
I'm not suffering in mine. I like to play the piano, but I like to when you can feel like you're about to break your fingers, like on that point. I like to get there first and then try to play.
But I don't think any of that's true.
It's not true. Yeah. I like to suffer when I play. I guess I am suffering when I play piano.
You don't like to suffer as you recharge?
It's how I get my emotions out, so I guess I'm doing it. Yeah.
I think part of suffering and recharging is the fact that you know that there is an end, that there is relief coming. Because if I had to be in 100 degrees for the rest of my life, I wouldn't really like it.
Yeah.
It's just like exercise. Like if I knew I had to be exercising forever, then I don't think anybody would really like exercising. Nobody would like riding their bike forever. But the fact that you know that it's going to be done someday is what makes it special. Isn't that true?
I guess so. Yeah. So Forrest Gump kind of proves that wrong because he just ran and ran for days.
Is that a band? What's Forrest Gump?
Yeah, it's a band.
Where are they from?
Louisiana.
What time period?
They're from Louisiana in the 1940s.
Do you have a band name?
I do.
So this is the part of the show where we list off fictional band names. These are not real band names. They are made up band names, but they should be real band names because they are so daggum good. They need to be being used, and these band names are open for anybody. And if you use one without asking us, we'll sue you. But if you use one by asking us, then you have full freedom and permission. So all you got to do is email dto@walrusaudio.com and you'll have full permission. And any bands, the first band to use one of the band names and to release a song on Spotify gets one free guitar pedal.
The first band for each one of these names, correct?
I'm not giving a lot of stipulations on it because I want to have some wiggle room to backtrack on it and deny that I said that.
That's great.
But yeah, the first band to use one of these band names is allowed one free.
And we're going to pick which one
pedal.
of them is the one. No.
So, yeah.
I have a good one today.
Oh,
I think this one will really get used.
What do you got?
Today we have normal noises.
Normal noises. Do you say normal noises or normal noises?
Normal noises.
Normal noises? Is the emphasis on noises or normal? Normal
it's
noises.
The second half of each one of those
normal
words
noises.
is normal.
Do you know what I'm asking?
I do. Normal noises.
Normal noises. Not normal noises.
Correct.
Normal noises. So it's all about the noises. It's not about the fact that the noises are normal.
Which, you know what would sound really good too? Normal noise.
Normal noise. That actually like that better.
That's their band name. Isn't that crazy?
Rewind the tape, everybody.
Normal noise.
Normal noise.
Man. Hey, what's your band name today?
I have one. It's called Poke and Punch Slumber Bunch.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Poke and Punch Slumber Bunch is...
Poke and Punch Slumber Bunch.
Poke and Punch Slumber Bunch. And they are from Savannah, Georgia.
When you say slumber, are you talking like slumber? Like, what do you mean?
Slumber, this is not a homonym and it's not a...
I want to visualize your band name.
No, this is, Poke and Punch Slumber Bunch is experimental band, for sure.
They are. Yeah.
And you think it's like fun music, like, oh, that sounds like a fun band. It is, no, they're not fun. And they're dark and they're kind of scary. They're on tour with Primus right now. So Poke and Punch Slumber Bunch is opening for Primus. And it's a very scary show. So only go if you have like a strong will and a strong heart,
man,
and a strong mind. Because if you don't, you're getting wiped out. So their debut album is called The Marinette, Wisconsin Toy Store Fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did that release?
That was in, I think it was in 1999.
Oh, wow. They've been around a while.
They've been around a really long time.
Okay. I was wondering how they're on tour with Primus.
Yeah. And so Mike Sapone actually, Mike Sapone produced the Marinette, Wisconsin Toy Store Fire album.
Dude, he's the man.
And so that's why it kind of has like a lot of raw edges to it, you know, like a pop punk or Southwest emo band would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Like Chicano heavy?
Yes, something like that. You know, something like...
He would do an awesome job recording Slow Joy.
He would. Here's the deal. As we're talking about this, we should give him that idea today. We should have Mike Sapone produce Slow Joy's next album.
Yeah. He has free time next month, I think.
Well, let's bring him on and let's see if we actually get to it today. All right, without further ado, boom, Slow Joy.
Esty Flores.
And here he is, Esty Flores, straight from... You're in Dallas, right? Are you in Dallas right now?
I'm in Dallas, yeah.
What are you, like a South Dallas guy or North Dallas guy?
I'm actually in East Dallas. So
East
what's
Dallas.
up?
You ever in like in Rockwall or something?
No, I'm actually Dallas proper.
Oh,
just like
Dallas proper.
specifically
I don't do the
East
burbs,
Dallas.
dude. I don't do the burbs.
Nah,
I'm
dog,
Dallas
nah.
proper.
I got that Dallas zip code.
Very cool. And the Dallas area code, I guess, too.
Yes.
I don't know how many area codes are in Dallas.
If you don't believe me, here in about 5 minutes, there's going to be a paleta man who just comes through my street every day.
Yeah.
And like my ears will perk up like a dog's does whenever they hear that bell.
Yeah.
It's the best thing about living in this neighborhood.
And that's the proof. That's the proof of why
that I'm
Dallas
in
is
East
so great.
Dallas.
Okay.
Yep.
What drives by?
A paleta, man. It's like a Mexican popsicles.
Oh,
but he
sweet.
doesn't drive. He walks. He walks his cart just through the streets, and then it dings every day. And then I run out there and I buy one.
So it's a ding. It's like a ding ding.
It's like a bell. Ding 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 ding.
Bell.
It's the best. It's basically just what they do in Mexico. They'll come around with those, but they have them here too because this area is like super Chicano influenced, and like East Dallas is tight. I love it.
That sounds amazing. Awesome. If he comes by during the podcast, what are we doing? Are we taking a break and going to get?
Yeah. I mean, days over. Days over at that point. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like 17.
I got you. What flavor are these popsicles?
I
mean, like, what's the?
Just all kinds.
Oh, so there's multiple flavors.
Yeah. I mean, it's all prepackaged popsicle stuff, but I usually get the coconut, and that's the move.
Listen.
It's got real coconut flakes in it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Coconut and pina colada for me are like the two like iced, like shaved ice popsicles, lifesavers. That's like where the glory's at. And it's great because everybody's like orange, grape, cherry, strawberry. It's like have them, take them all. I don't need them. I'm good with coconut flavors.
Coconut. If you're talking like trying to cool down during these very hot times, give me some coconut. Give me some coconut. Frozen on a stick, and I'll be happy.
Yeah. And talk about just like the difference of how disappointing the actual coconut taste is between the popsicle flavor. Because I bought coconut water like at Whole Foods one time, and I was young, and I was getting lunch at Whole Foods, and I was like, oh my gosh, coconut water, like a whole can of it. I was like, man, I opened that up and I was gonna like slam it like it was a pina colada, and it is not slammable.
I did the exact same thing.
Very disappointing.
You have to turn it around and look at the sugar content, and if it's too low, don't buy it. It has to have added sugar in it for it to be like really good.
It was very, very low because it was. It tasted like skin.
There was a spot near my old house that had a young coconut, and you could they sold it with a straw, and you would just put the straw into the young coconut and drink it out of the coconut. Yeah, and that was great. That was
does that have like a higher glucose content then?
I don't. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm drinking it from a coconut that I'm like stomaching it more. But it's also, I don't know. I mean, it's like lime juice and the plastic lime things.
Oh yeah,
and that's the kind of grade A content you're going to get from Slow Joy. It's just like talking fruit juices.
Lime juice in the plastic. In the plastic, what are you talking about?
Like when you buy like lime juice, like cases or like packets. It's not real lime juice. Like it's some fake replicant, and they say it's 100% lime juice, and I mean that doesn't taste the same at all.
In what other areas of life or from the government or in society are we being lied to?
Most
bananas.
I would say. Bananas too.
Bananas.
Dude, let's talk about UAPs. You want to just do that?
Let's just get into it.
Let's just get into it real quick. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Esty fronts one of my favorite bands right now, Slow Joy. And so, and I know this because, I have these kind of like different pockets in my Spotify, daily. What's Spotify called? Like daily
wraps or
daily playlists or whatever. Or like, hey, listen to these kind of bands. And so, like when I'm just feeling like, man, I just got a little bit of energy, and I need some magnification on the energy plus the heart that I have today. I turn on like one of those playlists, and Slow Joy comes on that playlist.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man, it's like. It's great. Would you describe your band for us, for someone who's never heard it?
Yeah, I heard this recently described as the music I make is like a mixture of grunge, emo, and shoegaze, and like that made so much sense. I personally have called it Southwest emo, just as like a coin term, or it's like Chicano heavy, but it just kind of lives in this like its own little space where it's like not emo enough for the emo crowd, not grunge enough for the grunge crowd, not shoegaze enough for the shoegaze crowd. It's kind of like open to everything, but it also has this like real cool, in my opinion, the visuals are like real Chicano, like forward, and something I'm really proud of. But yeah, I would say Slow Joy has been crazy. I'm really thankful for it, and I'm really thankful for like this people liking it, which is crazy. Yeah, I didn't expect it. So thank you for the kind words.
Yeah. I also like that you kind of just invented your own genre. I think that that's really smart, because a lot of people will try to slide into something, and then you can just like, I just name my own genre, and then other people are probably going to follow suit. You're going to see a growth spurt of Southwest emo, Chicano heavy bands pop up now.
You did coin that? Like that's you?
Yeah, that's kind of where my claim to fame was on like the internet, was like I said Southwest emo, and then people were like, that's hilarious. And someone in the comments said it first. They're the ones who like said it, and I just decided to make that my personality. I also would like the record to show that I in no way think I'm doing anything super new, like rock is rock, but
we heard you say that this is completely original.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You're already on.
It's like a cosmic gumbo, if you will.
Yeah. I had a band in college, and I tried to make up my own genre, and it didn't go over well, because we started out with like 5 fans and ended with 8. But it was like, what kind of music is it? I was like, it's like if Cormac McCarthy's books were a whole band, you know? And then people were like, I don't understand that at all. And then kind of looking back, I don't think I understand it either. But my need to be ultra pretentious was very high at that age.
That's good.
So
that's a good way to reach the masses.
Yeah. Okay, so you're from is your band from Dallas? Everybody from Dallas? How'd you guys meet, and how'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, Sojo is a solo project. I have the guys jump up with me and play with me. Pretty like it kind of has a fluctuating list of homies who play in and out. But I'm based in Dallas here, and then like a lot of the guys are from here, but it's kind of been like I'm going on tour Thursday, and like one guy flew in from New York and another homie flew in from LA. So it's kind of one of those things where now my friends who live far away who play music, I can kind of call them and be like, hey, do you want to hang out for 2 weeks and like get to rehash, which is one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah. So what was the first thing you guys did, and what was kind of the moment where things started, like the train started to gain some momentum?
Yeah, no, TikTok is really the thing.
Really?
I'm one of those.
No.
Not unfortunately. I usually carry it with my head down, like, yeah, TikTok is a thing. I'm thankful for it. That community was awesome.
Be proud of it. It's just not something that you normally hear, as, and I'm sure you're going to hear it a lot more coming up soon, but it's something that we haven't heard very often on. How did you guys get some notoriety? But tell us about it.
Also, we didn't find you on TikTok. We found you outside of that. So that's,
Yeah, tell us about TikClock.
Tell us about that new app.
Tell us about TikClock.
That was crazy. TikClock. Is it in the room with us right now?
Yeah. What time does your TikClock say? Okay.
It was crazy. I'm really thankful for it. I guess going back to like my story, I had done music forever. Like I was like one of those guys who like just tried and it never really happened for me.
Yeah.
And so I suffered. My mom had passed away, and I was like, okay, music is like done. I'm not going to do that anymore.
What year was that?
That was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like done with music. I had like responsibilities, got a real job, did that whole thing, and I used to work in marketing.
All right, pause. So that was 2 years ago. What were you doing in marketing?
Everything.
Who?
So I have several agencies. I started in
agency guy. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. A lot of sold a lot of different kind of things, but started in growth, moved into more of the like conversion rate optimization, like testing thing, which is like for I lost anybody who like, but just digital.
No, we know what you're talking about. It was the IQ of the people that listen to this podcast is very high.
So
That's fair.
Honestly, I don't know that, but that was an opportunity for me to solidify our fan base. So I just decided to take it.
See, and I don't think it's an IQ thing. I think it's a tolerance for very, very boring subject matter, because CRO is just incredibly boring. It's just like incremental testing and like all of that.
Talking about the crows?
Yeah, the crows. I flew with the crows for a little bit.
They are kind of boring.
They were boring bad. So going back, I was like working in marketing, learned all this stuff that like these companies paid a lot of money for me to learn how to like market their stuff and how to test their stuff.
Yeah.
So when I was in therapy, I like was doing therapy to like kind of work on my grief. My therapist had asked me what I use as a form of therapy, or as a way to process emotions. And I was like, well, I used to use music, but like that's not a pursuit anymore. And she was like, well, why don't you just use it like for what it's supposed to be, which is like self-expression and like processing through emotions. So I did that. And like it was really awesome. And I was like, well, I don't want to forget these songs. So I recorded them. And then I thought, oh, well, these companies are like spending a lot of money to like teach me how to market. Why don't I use what I've learned to like specifically with like testing and incremental things and like how to like look at data. Why don't I use that to like try to show people songs that I've written? And it was mostly like a kind of a side, like this is kind of fun activity for me. And that's where the TikTok thing happened, was like I just kind of like slowly tested my way into things that worked and like got to build a community and got to like really, really start meeting people. And then like from there, it just changed my life.
So talk about the first couple of like bits that you did on TikTok. Like what did those look like, sound like, and how did you create those?
Yeah, I mean, it was always me playing guitar. So I started off
just solo by yourself.
Literally, yeah, just in a room playing riffs. I think I started off by like realizing that questions usually demand answers in those scenarios. So I would like ask like, what genre is this? And I would just like play a riff that I made up that day. And then those started doing like decently well. And I was like, oh, I'll just keep doing that. And then once someone said like Southwest emo and I was like ready to release Crawling, one of my favorite songs I've ever written. Yeah. I like posted this video that was like not even that. I mean, I thought it was just like a throwaway video real quick, but I put like Southwest emo with a question mark on it. And then that's what the one that just kind of hit the algorithm, as they say.
Yeah. And that was just you on your guitar, or it was full band, or?
That one was, sorry, I skipped a couple steps. So then I
Don't skip any steps for us. This is the pod, dude.
My bad. I had the guys come over after I recorded it, and we just like recorded a couple of videos, and it's just me, my really good friend Rolando, who plays drums, and then Chris, who like came up and played bass for that when I played over there, and so we did that just here at my house, like literally right here, and that's the video that kind of just went.
I think it's the one I saw. I think it looks like it was there at your house.
It was my favorite one, for sure.
It's something sweet, and then the drums come in, and like the bottom drops out. You know, it's like, oh, dude, low D or something, whatever that is. It's real tight.
I look at that with a lot of nostalgia, especially because like my hair was long back then, and like I since had shaved it, but I miss my long hair.
Yeah, it's hot in Dallas though. You just gotta go with the times.
It's coming back. I want it. I can't wait.
Do you kind of go between the two, growing your hair out and cutting it?
It just depends. Depends on where I'm at. So I will grow it out long. So I actually shaved mine after I did a couple shows with Movements. We did these two like spread out shows. 1 week we were in El Paso, and then we came back, and then literally the next week we were in Albuquerque and came back. So that's two like 10-hour drives back to back. And when I came back from that second 10-hour drive, I was in the most boring meeting I've ever been in for work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I want to choose chaos real quick, and just shaved my head. And it was like the craziest thing. It was not a good idea.
In now the meeting at work, you did this in the meeting at work.
Yeah, while they were talking about just some really boring stuff, I was like,
yeah, dude, that's a marketing agency for sure. That sounds awesome.
It was definitely chaotic.
I'd like you to do that at our next meeting, Philip.
I'll do that.
I'd like you to shave your head.
Man,
what do you think about that?
I would be really sad to see my hair go.
Would that be a big sacrifice for you?
Huge.
I can sense
it would. Yeah,
I can sense the sadness. What's going on?
All the little bits add up.
Listen, what's going on in El Paso? I've never been. Do I need to go?
It's great. Yeah, you got to go to El Taco Torta, dude. Best tacos you'll ever have.
Really?
So good. So good. And they have a gigantic. You can just get all the salsas and just. Oh,
yeah,
it's great. Yeah.
How long ago were you in El Paso?
That was last November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
but you also, where did you used to live?
So I'm from Carlsbad. New Mexico.
You're Carlsbad guy.
Yeah, go Caverns.
Okay, I just need a database of everybody I know that's from Carlsbad. I keep meeting people from Carlsbad.
We're a weird bunch.
You all are. You really are.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I've never met anybody bad from Carlsbad. Everybody's great.
Well, they all stayed. That's if you got out of Carlsbad, you're cool.
Oh, that must be it?
Just diss an entire town real quick. Hold on.
That is okay. So I feel the same way. That was the same joke somebody here cracked, because there's a town in Oklahoma called Enid. It's about an hour away from here, and we've got 2 people here from Enid, and I really like them a lot. And I've known some people growing up from Enid, and I always say, like, I've never met anybody bad from Enid. And then they always say it's because we all left. It was like, all the knuckleheads stayed.
All joking aside, it's a good place to be from, not to be in.
Sure,
my thought.
I hear you there.
So I'll take it off my Zillow search then. So, not even across.
Yeah, you definitely.
I've never been to El Paso. I've always wanted to go. I love. I grew up. My childhood was in Austin.
Cool.
And so I grew up hill country in it and all that kind of stuff. But then went out like past there a few times, like down to Big Bend National Park. Took the highway through Midland, Odessa. If I could have like 1,000 acres out there in the desert, where it's hot,
heaven
and quiet. And,
yes,
it sounds awful.
You can see like the Milky Way at night.
That sounds
the
great.
Goal. That's the goal
heaven,
right there.
Heaven. That would be. That's actually where my music sounds the best. Is if you go to the Guadalupe Mountains, or you go up to Santa Fe, and like if you just pop on a Slow Joy record, like that's where it's meant to be. We ship it out everywhere else, but like that's the scenery right there.
Let me know when you play a show in Marfa, then I'll come.
Heaven.
I'll come down there and see you guys play in Marfa. That would be like an 18-hour drive. It'd be so ridiculous, but it'd be the fastest drive you ever taken, because speed limit's like 85.
Just the whole way through. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and you gotta speed from there, so you're doing 90. Which is always fun. Always fun in a big 15-passenger van.
Pulling a trailer.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Full of hardware. Oh,
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so when you're doing TikTok videos, and then like how many a week are you doing? And so I want you to kind of explain it in a way where maybe some other people might devalue. Like, here's the deal. Facebook, Instagram, marketing, email marketing. Those are like, in YouTube. So this is like, these are the pillars that modern marketing is built on. And I'm leaving out Google ads just because I don't want to get into that. Yeah. But as far as social goes, like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, email. Email's not social media. So if you're listening, shut up. I already said it. Don't write us a letter.
Digital.
But sell us on why TikTok is a growing segment for us to be paying attention to, and how do you kind of work your way through all that? Like, how are you designing content and measuring results and tweaking in the moment? Like, what are you doing?
Sure. No, I mean, it's definitely different in that, like, you're not just buying an ad and like trying to get instant conversion. It's where everybody is, right? Like the minute you sit down, it won't take very long before your phone is scrolling through some version of short form, be it TikTok or YouTube Shorts or something along those lines. So that's like our new communication style, is just those type of videos. So with that in mind, you kind of want to be where people are in general with the things that they want. Like if you have a thing that you believe is adding value to someone, then like you probably want to be in a place where they already are. You don't want to make the logical jump of like, well, you got to like click on my ad and like my ad looks like every other ad or something along those lines. You want to be like, my video that I'm making that's entertaining to you is like, that's its whole goal, is like, I'm entertaining you for these 3 seconds. If you like it, then you buy into the whole brand, as opposed to just like just a quick this or that. Where like I love it for brand marketing. I love it specifically for music marketing. But like most brands do super well on it, because it forces you to like tell a story, and it forces you to get people who are like very invested in you as a whole, which makes you ad platform proof, right? Because like the minute that...
Say the word you just said again.
ad platform proof.
Yeah. Explain that. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's just with like Facebook and Meta and all that stuff, like you're as good as like the amount of money you spend versus like if you're making good content and you like have people there, then they're always going to be there and they'll jump to other places and they'll be there and like a fan of you as opposed to just kind of like a quick sell.
Okay, so you said brands are successful on there, but say I'm a brand and I've designed my content for Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and so I'm just going to cut up what I've already done and throw it on TikTok. Am I going to be successful or not? What is going to happen to me?
No.
Can I just use the same content over on TikTok or what? Why can't I?
No, I mean it's
Tell me why.
You said something about this in the Songs and Stories podcast. I remember where you like.
Well, don't. Are you going to say it?
Yeah,
Let him
because
say
he can
it.
speak into it more. But just like creating that video that you made, and it you can speak into that.
Well, because it's not it. Well, we're so used to ads, right? Like as people like high definition. I have a theory about that. It's because like these big brands have like a lot of money and they've like hired the best filmmakers to make these really cinematic ads. And then it got so good that we just got used to seeing really good video as you're trying to sell me something. Or really well edited things as you're trying to sell me something. And with TikTok, like you want it to fit in, you want it to feel like native to the platform, right? If you're scrolling and you see all of these things that are just filmed on a phone, and then all of a sudden, you know, your thing that you put up there is like this like highly curated, super filmic look, instantly someone's just going to scroll past it because they're like, oh, it's an ad. Like they're trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just a different
kind of
community.
Walrus.
Yeah.
He's like describing what we do.
It's just it's a different communication style. It doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, we'll change the camera and that'll fix the problem. What it really means is like, hey, should we be more focused on like what the story we're telling or like how entertaining this specific 3-second moment is, because a lot of people think with short form it's like, well, you just cut it shorter, when the truth is it's how can I say something with the most amount of impact in the shortest amount of time and it be entertaining, because that's really the goal, is like to entertain someone. If you entertain them, then they'll be around.
Okay, so I think it's interesting. Can I ask how old you are? Is that okay?
30 years old. Just turned 30.
I think do you know the average age of your fans besides 37?
So it it ranges, actually. It's actually insane. So you have kids who are like younger than I, but like, 20 years. And then you have people, closer to my age, that 25 to 35 range. And then you'll just have people who are like 45 or 50, like really into it too. It's my like the shows, when people come out, I'm just like shocked by the group of people that are in this room. I'm like, you would never be in the same room together.
Yeah.
Like this is just such an array of different types of people.
Well, you're delivering an iteration of something that was really popular in the late 90s and early 2000s. But also, demonstrating that you have what it takes to stay in the current, what people demand from artists today, which I think is really interesting. Is probably why you have a really wide range of age ranges when you go to your shows. But I asked the other question is because you're saying your fans aren't really into, and you yourself aren't, if it's a high produced, like gorgeous video, like, you're being sold something, which I think is interesting because probably our fan base or age group, for the most part, like people in a certain age, like maybe 30, 35, 40, value belonging and being in like a club. So if that's what your fan base is operating from, then what you do is you generate some, kind of belonging, clubbiness, like kind of like a fake exclusivity, come into the brand, come into the family. Like once you're here, you're in the family, you're in the brand and all that kind of stuff.
I love Olive Garden.
But I think what your fans are desiring is authenticity. And so now it's kind of moving to where maybe some people wanted to have belonging as, one of their chief core values of for buying into like a brand or a product or a band. But yeah, I feel like authenticity is kind of where you're at and kind of where I think why you think you're successful on these platforms. Do you agree? And would you speak to that?
Totally. No, I mean, ultimately it is art, right? So I'm only I can only connect to people as much as like the art connects to the person who has like kind of dealt with the same thing or like been has the same sonic palette. So the authenticity is very important there because you don't want to you can tell when someone isn't from the same space or like talking about things that are actually important to them. And
how can you tell?
There's just an ineffable thing. Like you can just feel it, right? Like I mean, even if it's as simple as like it's not capturing you the way you'd want it to, like people can tell, especially in music, whether or not it's something that is like captivating to them and captivating because like it's usually because you're not. I've actually been thinking about this because I'm writing the next EP right now, and it's usually the more I interact with myself and the more I'm true to myself and the more I can like stand behind what I said after the fact, the more I like the piece of art that I've created.
Yeah. So you're saying some people create art maybe just to be liked?
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's probably I mean, I definitely did for a long, long time.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something though.
It does exist. It's a product, right?
I'm feeding you the answer. Yeah.
There's duality though. So you have to understand, like, there are some people who are like the artist, right? Who is, I will go down for the ship. I don't talk about marketing. I don't think about marketing, or I don't think about entertaining. I'm an autist, right? And that's not great. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? My taste is my taste. I'm an artist. You can't change that. And I'm not open to new things versus, well, I'm creating a product. I want to like have the most amount of impact imaginable. I'm trying to like make things, which are both fine. Like one's a Fast and Furious movie and the other is a Wes Anderson movie. Like I wouldn't even say Wes Anderson, probably something even smaller and like more niche than that. But like that, those both have like their worlds for it. But I tried, like, for me, I want to be as authentic as possible, while also like realizing the fact that I'm also an entertainer. So like, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can be in the music, and I'm not going to do anything inauthentic and not going to chase views, but I'm also going to try to be entertaining when it comes to like my marketing and things along those lines. Like I also get the fact that like I only make money if someone is entertained by me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is
Also, side note,
it is what it is.
I could definitely see a Slow Joy. I could definitely see crawling in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Instead of Wes Anderson.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what I was thinking too. Thank you.
maybe Transformers while you're at it. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Revenge of the
totally. Yeah, that'd be a really good Transformers movie.
I'd take it, honestly. That'd be so sick.
No way I'm going to do that.
Okay, so you said, you mentioned being entertaining. You have a podcast, right? So not a lot of people who have who are recording music, touring, even bother to like, I'll just do a podcast while you're at it. What started the podcast? What's the thesis of this, and where are you going with it?
I mean, I just love making things. I have to be making things at all times.
I get that sense. I get that sense
that this guy has a lot of time on his hands.
That's not what I'm saying. That you're a prolific content maker, and I mean content in the highest compliment possible.
I just think that not very many people get what I have gotten recently with like people like actually caring. Like, and I didn't get it for a very long time. Like, this is an incredible gift that like I have the attention of people. So I want to create as many things to entertain them and keep them like feeling like they have value from me as possible, because of the fact that I'm like, I would have killed for this. So like, let me do as much as I can to like connect with the people who are like it connects with. And like the podcast doesn't do like insane views or anything like that. It's literally just there so I can connect with like the people who want to connect with it. And it's more of a I call it more of like a nurture thing, where I'm just like, if you want to like dive deeper into things along like me, that's a good way to do it. It's called Homies Hotline. It's an advice show for the homies by the homies. It's hilarious and fun.
Homies Hotline. That sounds great. So you said something about it's a nurturing piece of content. What is the opposite of nurturing, and how do you go? Okay, so talk about those two coexisting in your output.
I mean, it's interesting. It's there's two different I would say there's two different schools of thought in digital, and they both work, but they work better together.
Yeah.
There's capture, which like we're seeing a huge issue with. You have these TikTok legends who will have a song go ultra viral, but they can't sell very many tickets at shows because like they've done really good at capturing a lot of people to listen to like a sound, but they haven't like nurtured a community of people to like be invested in what they're doing.
Interesting.
Yes.
And I've recognized that as like, oh, that's a pitfall of like people in my world. Like, how do I like adjust for that? And like the truth is, you just got to connect with people. You like,
yeah,
you got to not assume you're like above like talking to people. I reply to every message I get, every comment I get. I reply to most of them. I've since
like
had to
that one
slow
right
down.
There?
Yeah, like that one. Yeah, that one right here. Most of them. There are times where I just like. I mean, if people are out of their way to be mean, I'm not going to justify it with a response anymore. But
sure.
that was like a fresh learning curve. I used to like do it more, but
is that one of the things in that you started the IG Real Ones broadcast channel?
Yeah, exactly.
It's no big deal, but I'm in there. So,
yo, what's up?
Just a real homie.
That's my favorite.
I'm not. How do I get in?
Man, you got to be a real homie.
See, this is what I'm talking. Now you're getting into the lane of exclusive clubby. Like
it's actually it's open invite. So
content.
You probably just didn't accept it when it shared it to all of my followers. So
I must not.
That's kind of on you.
I check out on Instagram every now and then. Okay, so capture versus nature. Which, like, is it 80-20 with you, 50-50? Like, what's more important?
I would say they're just the yin and yang of like
yin and yang.
Yeah, of marketing. Like you need both. You need strong both. So I definitely go through seasons of like I kind of see it as like sowing and reaping sometimes too. So it's like seasons of sowing into growing your sowing into your audience and then there's seasons of like reaping like more the fruits of that. So now I'm like really sowing into my current audience, and then when I'm ready to release some more music here pretty quick, then I'll like go into the capture again and kind of go for it. I think exponential growth is like good, but it's not, if you can't sustain it forever, it's going to be like, you don't want to be the quick rise, quick fall act. You know what I mean? You want to be the person who like actually connects with people. Because I mean, as much as we can talk about data and audiences and stuff like that, what it really is like a lot of people, and like people connect with people. I'm thankful that anybody takes the time to listen to what I do or like engage with what I'm making, because like that means they took time out of their day to be, to spend with me, which is like a huge blessing.
Yeah. That is actually, that's really profound. I think we should just kind of give some dead air right there and let people kind of like soak that in.
Yeah. Fast
rise, fast fall. I think that's the difference between, we call it growing strong and growing fat.
Sure.
And products, branded products do this all the time, grow strong, grow fat. And there could be even parts of your business or your brand or your your cause that grow strong or grow fat. And so, but I think that's interesting. I think you would say the number one thing to pay attention to is connection with your audience.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a huge group of people paying attention, but it doesn't matter if they don't feel like you're connecting with them, and like it's a thing that like is a part of their lives, and a part of my lives. And I say that being a music fan and being like if Kings of Leon, announces a show within a 200-mile vicinity of me, I'm going to be there. Probably on the lawn, because I'm not trying to spend hundreds of dollars.
Oklahoma City, dude.
Yeah, what's up, dude? Love that band.
Yeah.
And like they are something that I really care about, and like anytime I see a new video from them, I get excited. It's a thing that like I'm thankful to have, and like as someone who is that for other people. As like crazy as that feels, because I'm in my infancy and like not quite used to it yet, I do understand the fact that like, man, that's so important. It's so important to like give people like to value them because they valued you. Yeah. And I mean, just be there with them and like, I don't know, give them as much as you can possibly give them, because I mean, I wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for people.
What are some brands or some bands that are doing that really well, like what you're talking about, besides yourself?
A good question. No, I would say comedians do it very well. Like comedians are fantastic at nurture and capture. Every comedian has like a podcast. Every comedian has like some sort of viral video that like their formula is like, I take a lot more notes as far as like my digital, like, if we're still having like marketing thoughts, like I take more notes from like skateboarding and comedy than I do like music. Because like both those, they figured out how to work the digital world. You know what I mean? They have these things where like you think about the record, they have like the special or like the video part, and those are the things that you build to, and like those are for the fans and like can capture more people if it's really, really good. But the truth is you're building to that, and like in the interim, instead of like putting all of your eggs there, you have like the podcast and the and for skateboarding it's like the clips of you skating at the skate park, the little things that daily little nuggets of food for us fans.
Wow.
And that's more where if I'm like for marketing and how I present like this thing, it's more so I take notes from like comedians and skateboarders.
Interesting. I love that. Mm-hmm. We do something similar here. We're not paying attention to. I mean, we are, and if you're listening and you're a music instruments company, I pay attention to you all the time. I love you. You're great. But I mean, we're looking at like makeup brands. Fashion brands.
Exactly.
Like those kinds of things. People who have like a very strong emotional connection with a certain product. We're not, I don't want to name any names, No, we're not like watching Line 6,
You're already
I
in
love
that culture,
Line 6. Though. God bless Line 6. And I have a lot of Line 6.
I have an M5 on my board. I love it.
Dude, you should have an M5 on your board. You should have, an M12. What's the other one? M13?
It's the M9, M5, M9, and M13.
I know.
Yeah.
They're kind of like firecracker names, right?
Yeah,
there's going to be the M50, the M5000. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing you, Line 6. Thanks for all the DL4s. I played a show in college at one time when I needed delay, and I needed a vocal loop, and I needed a guitar loop. And so I had 3 DL4s for like a season of time. I had 3 DL4s going.
That's so much.
It was a lot of space. There were like tens of people there.
I successfully got to stay away from the DL4. That was the one pedal that I was like, I never ended up getting because everybody else had it. But then I got the M9, so it's like the same thing.
That is, your end is
the
just
Echo
it's a DL4 in there. Yeah, and then I had the Verbzilla. That was the other thing.
Oh yeah, pre.
Yeah,
Echo Park was pre DL4. Yeah.
Yeah, Echo Park was the precursor, right?
Yeah. So was Verbzilla.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. You know who Josh Scott's going to be watching this. He's going to be like, these guys are idiots. Come to St. Louis and get the St. Louis. He doesn't live in St. Louis. Kansas City.
Wow.
To your point, though, you're already in the culture, right? Like we can talk about pedals like without even thinking about it. So like that, we don't have to focus on that. Like that's the thing that's already part of us versus like now I have to pay attention to something else because that's what gives me more that's what like broadens my horizons more than if I just like keep focusing on other bands or other pedal companies. And that's why I see it that way. Is like, yeah, I mean, Line 6, we know Line 6. We know like when something else comes out, it's like easy. We don't have to think about paying attention to that versus like you have to think about paying attention to other things that inspire you because that's how you innovate within your specific like niche or market.
Totally. Wow. So what are you going to end up just teaching marketing at what's the big university? What's the biggest university in the Dallas Metroplex? TCU? What is it?
I have no idea. It's SMU?
SMU's pretty big. You can teach marketing at SMU?
If you look at my resume, I just got laid off from a marketing agency, so I probably am not they probably wouldn't do it.
You quit to pursue your dream. I think that's
that's what it quit me. I was honestly focusing too much on Slow Joy, so that's on me.
Yeah,
I was like, that's fair.
Yeah, maybe it was shaving your head in the boardroom.
Yeah, there was many other aspects of that. Well, it was remote, so my camera was just off. I was just like, I just turned my camera off and then like turned the computer and then I did it in the bathroom.
And then did you turn your camera back on?
Nah, I just left it off.
All right, okay.
I actually left it off for like the rest of my tenure at that job. I was like, I'm just never turning my camera back on again.
When we release the podcast, what we're going to edit out is that. And then we kind of want to leave people with like you shaving your head in the boardroom because you're bored.
For sure.
Like
just chaotic.
Y'all keep talking.
I had a question about that, but maybe you just answered. But like, how did you not struggle with burnout whenever you're doing the marketing and you're doing Slow Joy? Because I mean, starting a whole project that's you solo, and
I have I have a family, and I have like, you know, my wife and my like, I took care of my sisters financially for a little bit, so like I had to do both. Like I wasn't in a situation where I could be like, oh shoot, I can like quit this and like, you know, run full at it, because I had responsibilities. So that helped me out, because that gave me a lot of reason to do the thing. But slowly I started to recognize, like, especially as like Slow Joy kind of started becoming more self-sustaining, and like more members of my team, and more really cool people buying merch online, and like all that stuff. As that became more and more of a possibility of like, I see the light, I see a world where like I can do this. I just started becoming a worse and worse employee. It's just,
well, that's, I was like, going to say something has to give. Yeah.
I mean, and I wouldn't say I was like maliciously bad. I just wasn't like, I just cared so much more about this that like that kind of was just like, I was just there, which is fine. But it was one of those things where I was just like, I just cared so much more about this, and like I saw this as like my future versus. I'd actually talked to my manager about this, and he was like, you know, as much as like work is a thing that's there, just recognize the fact that that's momentary, but like Slow Joy is your future. And I was like, I've never thought about it that way. And like, this is how I can make the most impact. And to that point, even like going back to like the marketing, and like, I know we talk a lot about that, and we talked a lot about the TikTok thing, is like the reason why I'm so focused on that, and the reason why I care so much about that stuff isn't necessarily because I want to be like the biggest band on the planet. Like that's a goal, is to like have as much impact as I possibly can. I would love to do like the stadiums, all that stuff. But the reason behind all of that is like, how do I set myself up to like, one, I have a direct story of people in my life who I can tell you exactly who came over to America with $2 in their pocket and grinded it out for a better life. And my dad didn't have the ability to do what I do, because he didn't have the opportunity. Like his dad came over from another country and gave him what he could, but like my dad had to go get just a regular job and like raise a family. And like, because I see that on both sides of my family, I see that as like, oh, I have to like go further than what they were given, because they sacrificed for me to be able to have a better life. And like, this is how I do that, is like by really chasing something and using these opportunities that they gave me. And on top of that, like I have a family who, like my sisters and like my wife and all of these things, are like, if I'm going to do this, I have to have the most amount of impact, because I need to like take care of them. So it's like this like internal drive of like having the legacy of like, I know the people who came over here and like wanted a better life and like sacrificed for me to be able to do this. And I know the people who are here who now I want to like try to give that to them. And that's why like all this like marketing, stuff when it comes to music is like so important to me. It's because like, that's my drive.
That's awesome.
Who said it better? That's amazing. And you're doing it really well.
Thank you.
I think the marketing is great. I need to spend more time on TikTok to truly appreciate what you're doing. I've seen bits and pieces, but I honestly, I am mostly like a captivated fan, and I feel very nurtured. But I am a captivated fan from Spotify. I dig straight into it and listen. And ultimately, if the product doesn't meet the ask of the marketing, then you don't have anybody. So I think what you're doing is the product is sufficient for the ask, and I think you're doing a great job. I mean, it's very simple instrumentation. It's not complex, but it is just complex sounds, and it sounds so loud and raw, and it sounds like in a very good way. It sounds like very first take. And there's a lot of feedback that reminds me of like some Bush stuff early on. Yeah. And it's just checks all the boxes. And here's the deal. And if you haven't listened to it, if you're listening now and you haven't listened to it, you're going to go and listen to it, and you're going to go all the way through the catalog, and you are not going to be able to pick a favorite song because they're all good. That's the problem with Slow Joy. It's like, I want to listen to Slow Joy. Like, which song? You're like, dang, I don't really know where to start because like they're all really great. So
it's definitely Crawling, I think.
Yeah, okay. Go start on Crawling. Go start on Crawling.
Crawl
Dude,
too.
this is amazing. Thanks for being on. Thanks for being on today.
I do have one question before you go quickly.
Sure.
Just because I always wonder the logistics of filming something in a gas station or in a library. Like, how did you go about that?
Honestly, so the gas station was the gas station. We just like they do shows there.
Oh,
it's called Rio Market. We just sent them a message and like paid for like 2 hours to do it. The guy was awesome. He was like just like smoking a pipe outside, like just like tobacco in a pipe, and he was like, "You guys are really good," and like.
And when you do that, can people still come in? Or is
no, there were people shopping. Yeah, they were like buying milk and like doing all that stuff. People always comment. They're like, "Which one of you works here?" And I was like, "No, we just kind of paid for the spot."
Paid for the space.
So good. The library was actually, they were both this record shop out here. Shouts out Josie Records. A homie of mine works there, and they were just so supportive. And really, really just like let me come in and do all that while people were shopping, which was like amazing. It's fun now because people then send me stuff. They're like, "Hey, you should do it in this thing."
Yeah.
Like, why do you have a guitar in that? And I was that's a fun. Yeah, it works out perfectly. Yeah. But I'm really thankful and like thank you for the kind words. That really is like. I know I tend to like lean more into the conversations about like the music, marketing and stuff, but the truth is like a great song is a great song, and like you that's where it starts and that's where the artistry is. So it means a lot to me that you like connect with the music.
Yeah, listen, I had it on while I was mowing the other day, and I was just like having a great time. I was having the best time of my life, and I wanted to go write some songs after it. I was like, I want to write some songs too.
You have another sad
that means
mow?
a lot to me.
It was like a power mow. It was like a sad power mow. That's kind of what it was.
That was how I would describe the music. And I want it to feel like just aggressive and in the room and not over processed. That's the vibe. I want people to be like, I'm in the room.
Yeah.
The new music's gonna be sick, y'all. I
can't wait.
Oh, we're so pumped.
Going to the studio next month.
Yeah, who are you going to the studio with?
Mike Sapone.
Sapone.
He did Taking Back Sunday, and he is the man. I'm so excited. It's in New Jersey. I've never been there before, and like these songs are just
Dude, New Jersey.
It's gonna be.
It is pretty. It is really pretty. I was prefacing it because I don't want anybody to be listening from New Jersey being like, don't talk about New Jersey.
It's going to be on a lake, so I think I'll get the best version of it.
Everywhere I've been in New Jersey, I've been like, this is great. I could totally do this. I struggle in Manhattan, but New Jersey that's my vibe right there. Obviously, because I said I'd go see you play in Marfa, Texas. So
totally.
Pretty much gives all of it away. It's Esty Flores from Slow Joy, the best Southwest emo Chicano heavy band out there. Absolutely. Go digest all the content. And thanks for being on the show today, man.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.